Xvive have been kind enough to send me their newest in-ear monitors, the T9s. Now, I haven't had much experience with in-ear monitors apart from a very cheap set from Amazon, so this is going to be a very interesting experience. If you clicked on this video, it's highly likely you already know what in-ear monitors are, but if you don't, they're basically headphones for musicians so we can hear backing tracks and so on. And therefore, it's really important that we can hear other musicians very clearly. So the best way I can think to give my honest opinion on this, with the limited experience I've had with these, is to do a cheeky little comparison test. But before that, let's see what comes in the box. First things first, we've got a carry case, feels pretty sturdy, means you won't get your cables in a twist, we like that. Next up, we've got the actual headphone cable itself. One thing I do like about these is that there's an extra piece of plastic towards the top, which means you can mould them slightly more to hold their shape and therefore fit a bit more snugly to your ear if you want them to. Then you've got the earbuds themselves, the important bit, the business end. I'll go a little bit more into those later on. You do have a lot of options when it comes to what actually goes in your ear. 3 different sets of earbuds with 3 different sizes, depending on how big your ear holes are, so there's something for everybody. And last up, you've got a 3.5mm headphone jack and a little cleaning tool. We can't forget about ear hygiene, come on now. Alright, so the comparison test. I've got 2 pairs of headphones here, they're both in-ear buds with wires. The first is my everyday pair of headphones, which is like a Sony very mid-range to low-range headphone. And then we've got Amazon's finest Sub-Zero, cheapest in-ear monitors I'm pretty sure you can get your hands on. There's about 20, maybe 30 quid, maybe, at a push. I have plenty to say about these. They aren't fantastic, but will they get you through a gig? Yes. So what I'm going to do is try my best to emulate with EQ, different stuff, what these headphones sound like to me. Obviously it's very interpretive, but I'm going to do my best to give you an impression of the difference between all 3 of them. So just to keep the circumstance the same, I'm going to listen to the same piece of music with each set of headphones plugged in with an adapter because they aren't big enough to fit into my interface. And we're going to see if I can kind of try my best to, first of all, describe what the difference is, but also try and emulate them. We'll see how we do. Alright, so first up, here is the control. I'm listening to this using these Audio-Technica M50Xs. Now this is harder to compare, obviously, because these are overhead, high-quality headphones going over my ears instead of earbuds going in my ears, but I'm doing my best. Alright, I'm doing my best. So first up is just the original mix. Here it is. This is a great mix done by a friend of mine, Ryan Wood, also known as 105mm Studios. Fantastic producer, I suggest you check him out. But anyway, that's the original. Now, let's go to what I think will have the most contrast, which is the Sub-Zeros, which you actually, turns out, can't find anywhere on the internet, but they were the budget kind of in-ears that I could find at the time. So here we go. Now, a number of things stand out to me here. First of all, it's the loss of dynamic range and also frequency range. So you're losing all that sizzle in the hi-hat, you're losing a lot of definition, especially in the low end. It suddenly becomes a bit of a mush. And you can hear the vocals very defined, but it's also, piercing isn't quite the word, but it's not as nice and tasty and rounded as it was perhaps before. It definitely is right on top of the mix from what I can hear, which is kind of what you want, because in a live situation you want to be able to hear what's going on rather than going like an audio file and going, yes, this sounds delicious. And I mean, what do you really expect? These are like the cheapest of cheap in-ears. These are also crap in general in terms of how they're made. These 2 bits here just fall apart. I've had 2 pairs of these. Yes, I bought the same thing again. Yeah, I know. I'm an optimist. I hoped it would be better the next time round. Wasn't. Anyway, so they fell apart, were useless, and you can now hear that, surprise, surprise, they don't sound all that great. Now, let's move on to the Sonys. So remember, these are normal earbud, consumer earbuds, cheaper than I thought as well. So let's try those bad boys out. hand, honestly, with the Sonys, all I'm really hearing is kind of, you're losing a bit of top and tail in the frequency ranges, but honestly that might be saving your hearing a little bit. But also, I think we're also dealing with the contrast between over-ear, which I think is helping it sound a bit wider as well in my ears, and then going to earbuds, everything sounds more closed in. But it sounds great, honestly. Sounds great with those in. Now, let us try the important one, the T9s. Also, just for the sake of comparison compared to the Sonys, I'm going to take off these foam earbuds and put on the more rubbery ones. Okay, so if there's any producers listening, I can only apologise to my EQing accuracy skills here, but what I'm trying to articulate is just broad stroke differences between the three of these. And what I find interesting about the T9s, they have a very intense sound, and I think that also comes from, they are literally louder. When I put them in, I was like, oh, I've got to turn that down, which I didn't have to do with the other ones, which might say something about the drivers. I'm not 100% sure. Also, I did try out the other buds. I've switched over to the other ones just to see if it would make much of a difference. Honestly, it didn't. Not that much anyway, just cut out some of the external sound a bit better maybe, but perhaps they would make more difference in the live scenario. I don't know. But yeah, there definitely was a low end, or kind of a blanket over the high end to me, which you could also say works to your benefit because it's protecting your hearing a little bit better, saving you from these kind of dangerous, more dangerous high frequencies. But that doesn't necessarily mean there's a lack of definition in it. Like I say, the EQing might not serve it very well in this scenario, but to me they feel very punctual. I can definitely hear what is going on, which is what you want. These aren't necessarily consumer headphones, it's just you want to hear what's going on. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. Let me know what you think. Obviously I haven't got something really universal like AirPods that you can compare very easily, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments if you have any thoughts, or if you think this test is a load of rubbish because of too many variables, but sodded. Anyway, let's talk about something else, shall we? Namely, appearance and fit of these T9s. Perhaps I'm just a bit too used to normal headphones, but these feel quite chunky in my ears. They feel like they go quite far out of my head, but they definitely feel secure. Got the nice cable that wraps round that's got a little bit more lining, so it's a bit more rigid. It's quite hard to tell just how secure these will be if you're throwing your head about or running around a stage, but sat here, they feel very sturdy. Greetings. This is Editing Emma from the future. Just one point I wanted to make that I forgot to make in the video was that in terms of build quality, they do feel pretty solid. They feel like a chunk of plastic that feels pretty strong compared to the Sub-Zeros that were just rubbish when it came to build quality. However, I wouldn't go around swinging them over your head and smacking them against a wall if I were you. Same applies to the cable, however I'm not 100% sure how long that will last if you're using it day in, day out, for heavy touring, lots and lots of gigs. But if you're a weekend warrior, they'll probably be fine. A little while ago, Xvive also sent me their U4 receiver, so I thought this was a great chance to test the two out together. So initially I tried the T9s going into the U4, going into my interface, which is a Focusrite 18i8. And what I did notice was a drop in quality and clarity, and I'm pretty sure this is just because it's wireless. Because when I stopped using the U4 and just plugged it straight in with the adapter jack to the interface, it sounded great. So I think that's an important thing to bear in mind when you're thinking about buying this. So before I come to any real conclusion about these T9s, I personally would like to try them out in live environments, in just more varied environments than the ones you've just seen there. What I can say is right now they fit comfortably in my ears. I like that there's lots of different options in terms of the earbuds and sizing. I like that they have quite an intense sound. You want to be able to hear what the hell you're doing when you're playing. And even though they do kind of feel like they're sat outside my head, feel like they're poking out quite a fair bit, they do also feel really stable and secure. So if you're rocking out pretty hard, they should be fine from what I can feel. In terms of wearing them for a long time, I would like to do some more tests before I come to any real conclusion about that one. But from first impressions, they feel pretty comfortable. One I would potentially say downside, and this might be to the overall combination of the U4 wireless pack along with the T9s is you do lose a certain amount of quality in the audio when you use it. It's probably just because it's wireless. You lose quite a lot of that like upper and lower frequency band, and you just lose that definition a little bit. It's a shame I haven't had very long to kind of test these out and get some kind of long-term information, the kind of answers to question that most people want from these things. But hopefully this has helped you out in some way in terms of informing your decision about buying either Xvives or not. I'd also really like to know what you guys think about these things as well, seeing as I'm not stupidly informed on the topic of in-ears. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Other than that, I hope you have a great day, week, month, year, life, and I'll see you in the next video. Big love.